Hey guys, it's Cynthia for He Said, She Said Boxing. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon. That way, as soon as new videos drop, you're one of the first to know. Now, if you want exclusive content, make sure you subscribe to our Patreon page. There you will get access to our Throwback Thursday videos, free merchandise, live fight chats, and so much more. Click on the links in the description and visit us at HeSaidSheSaidBoxing.com.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Tony Tig here, along with Miss Cynthia from He Said, She Said Boxing.
Hello. Good morning.
Yeah. And we are here doing our first Throwback Thursday boxing review. So this is kind of something new that we're throwing out there. So you guys gotta bear with us as we, get the hang of this thing. But as time goes on, everything should be a lot smoother, and we should be having fun. How you feeling over there, Cynthia?
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of fun. I'm excited. Hopefully no technical difficulties, guys.
No technical difficulties, yes. So make sure, if you haven't done already, that you subscribe to the channel. Our Twitter, our Instagram, all our social media should be listed below. Make sure you also check out all exclusives on Patreon. And so the first fight we're going to be looking at today is going over the Paul Williams and Sergio Martinez fight. Actually, kind of more or less the second fight, but we'll kind of touch on the first one. And these two middleweights were probably in their prime. Two of the most exciting to watch. Unfortunately, their careers didn't really end the way they should have, but their fight together was definitely something to watch. What did you kind of like your overall impression on watching these two fights, Cynthia?
I agree with you when you say they're really exciting fighters. When reading into it, I agree that I can see why lots of fighters would avoid them. With Paul not having, much of a, big promotion, and knowing that they have a possibility to lose, it's just not worth it. I could see why. Watching this first fight, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. He definitely, he works, he's busy, he stays busy, he throws. I think Paul Williams throws a lot more, but Martinez, he actually lands a lot more. It honestly, very entertaining fight. The first one, honestly, but obviously they lasted a lot. One lasted longer than the other one.
This is true. So we'll take a look at the first fight, kind of like the highlights from it. And do you remember when you watched it, like how you scored it, or who you had winning the fight?
Yeah, and you know what? It was entertaining to watch the end and the remarks of, was it or the guy in the background that was like interrupting the interview at the end, because he was so angry. He was appalled at one of the judges at the way that he scored it. I came out with Paul having 115 and Martinez 117, very close. I think two of the other judges agreed on that, but there was that one that did like this outrageous, like 110, 119 or something like that. Or about that.
Yeah, I remember because it was such a close fight, and then to have that one judge, it kind of puts a dark cloud over it, and boxing already has enough of a dark cloud because people are already always suspicious of judges, and then when you have a score like that,
what do you think?
It makes
how do you think he scored it then, based on the numbers?
Well, I don't want to say he was paid off, but I mean to have a 119, 110, that means you're just kind of just scoring the rounds without even really watching them. So. Because you could say, yeah, Paul Williams threw a lot of punches as we're looking at it right now, and he's definitely putting in the work. And he was always one of my favorite fighters. But Sergio, his punches were definitely crisper.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that at the time, Sergio he took this fight on 3 weeks' notice, and and so he was, kind of the no name. So I think that's kind of what judges, unfortunately sometimes look at. Yeah, these two, this this 11th round is my favorite round.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, they're just throwing haymakers. And that's what made Paul so scary because he was like 6'1", 6'2". Well, he was listed at 6'1". I think he was really
Super
6'3".
tall.
Yeah, I really think he was like 6'3", but they made him try to make him a little shorter so fighters wouldn't be as scared. But I
Mm-hmm.
think so. That was that. And then this is a clip I found of me talking about this fight.
Oh. Hey, how young do you look? This is crazy. Are you in
I
high
know this
school?
is mine.
What's going on?
No, this was like I wish this was like 8 years ago.
Yeah, that's
Why
high
he's
school
not
for
ready to
sure.
fight the top guys at welterweight yet, and it kind of showed me like I don't know if he's ready for Kelly Pavlik. Is that he's not he's throwing a lot of punches, but they're not effective. They don't hurt anybody. Sergio landed a lot. I think, in my opinion, landed a lot more cleaner shots. But it's hard to get points when you're moving back the whole time and you're having to duck and you're having to dodge and you're having to, you know what I mean? I think had Martinez in a couple rounds, just a couple more rounds, been a little bit more aggressive going forward, he definitely would have got it. I definitely thought Paul won by a couple rounds. There was a scorecard that had it 119 to 110. I hate looking at scores like that when you have two fighters going at it. And Martinez putting all this work in, and you gonna rob him and give him a 119, 110 scorecard. That's just ridiculous. If he would have won, definitely would have deserved it. He's a good fighter. I definitely think he definitely got a lot more points with me. He definitely needs to get a lot more top fights. Paul Williams definitely got a lot of work to do if he wants to improve. I wouldn't take a rematch. I would go ahead and look on the bigger and better things. Because if you take a rematch, you might lose, brother. And Sergio Martinez, I would beg for that rematch because you deserve it. And Sergio Martinez, you definitely can you can beat him, brother. So I would love to see a rematch. Paul Williams, if he's gonna do a rematch, he's definitely gonna step his game up. But I doubt it. He probably wants to fight Kelly Pavlik after Kelly Pavlik wins. He should win in a couple weeks. So that's it for me. Your boy Sidney Cello, aka Mr. Cello. Keep it clean, keep it light. Have a good weekend. Talk to y'all later. Peace.
Now we're gonna go to the second fight.
Yeah, I mean, just scoring the first fight for me, it was a little bit difficult. I was like, it came to a couple rounds where I was like, I don't know who goes, who this round belongs to and stuff. But it really was a close fight. Um, it was definitely an exciting one too. So going on to the second one.
Yeah, so the second one, what I was looking at right away is I wanted to see if Paul, if he changed anything, and if you ever watch Paul's fights, for people who never got a chance to see Paul Williams really fight,
Mhm.
um, is that he was always the type of fighter who came out throwing up like 100 punches around,
Mhm.
um, but he never really faced a counterpuncher like Sergio, and it was kind of important for me to see if he was going to change anything from the first fight. And here you see him. He starts off aggressive. He's doing pretty good, kind of catching Martinez a little bit off guard.
Mhm.
Martinez hasn't started trying to counterpunch yet. Um,
And he has about 2 inches of reach more than Sergio, right?
um, you know what? I'm not sure what I know he had a long. I know he had long arms. I think he had like 80 something inch reach advantage, which is 80 something inch reach. I'm sorry. And usually, yeah, most fighters are maybe in their low 70s. So he did have like really really long arms.
He did, yeah.
Um, he just didn't sit. See, he never sits down on his punches though, and that's the problem. Like he doesn't plant his feet and you know, just rip hard shots. It's almost pitter patter kind of shots as opposed to Martinez, who's sitting down more on his shots.
So it's like
Um,
he throws a lot of punches. Like what is it, like 100 per? I forgot the stat.
right. Yeah,
It's a
like about
lot,
100.
but
Yeah.
I mean, what good does that do when they're not necessarily as clean and precise, like you were saying, like Sergio's, right? It's like you're just wasting all this gas.
Yeah, and he had a tank. I mean, he never really got tired. But if he would have cut maybe his punches to even 70 punches.
Right. Yeah.
But if there were 70 meaningful punches, they would have been, maybe caused more damage. But he still did a lot of damage in, just with that work rate. Because I mean, um, whether they're all landing, if you see a dude 6'2" coming at you throwing 100, punches around, it's gonna eventually wear you out, which is what he did to a lot of fighters. He just wore them down.
Mhm.
I always thought it would have been interesting to see him and Mayweather, just to see Mayweather go up against a southpaw who throws that many punches.
Mhm.
But it just never happened, just because of the he wasn't a big he didn't have the big promotion, and you know Floyd was in the direction of trying to sell pay-per-views at that time. So
Yeah.
just, just
Go up against him.
yeah. And Sergio, a lot of people didn't know he started boxing late, because I think here he's like 31 years old, but he's like a fresh 31 because he didn't start boxing until he was like 19.
Mhm.
So, and then he was like a bicyclist, a soccer player. You know,
Player.
yeah, he did so much. So he was really good on his stamina. And sometimes it's a good thing and bad thing in boxing. If you start late, you're more fresh, but you have the learning curve. You're like behind the learning curve. So it's like give and take.
Right. Yeah, the first one I definitely gave it to Sergio. I just felt that he was being more aggressive. Like we were talking about him throwing those precise punches, and so I mean, it was close, but I had to give it to him. Give it to him for sure.
Okay.
Hmm.
Is this a dude with a red head, red hair right here? What is this going on here?
Where,
Sorry, I'm just distracted.
where I
um,
don't see anybody with red.
that's just me. I'm tripping. Okay, but look, one thing I noticed is that Sergio Martinez, the left hand that he knocks Paul out with, he throws it right here. Oh no, wait, hold on. Boom. See, he hit him right there with it, and right there, Paul should have made the adjustment. Like, okay, he's catching me with that left hand, which is what he did in the first fight. And
Uh-huh.
he never adjusted that. Look right there, he never adjusted that. His game plan, like, you can't do that as a fighter, and that ended up knocking him out. And he did the same thing, walked in and got caught. And I think he relied too much on his chin and thinking like, oh well, I have a big chin, but you can have the strongest chin in the world if someone catches you at the right time and you don't see the punch, which is why he got knocked out. He did the same thing. He follows him, gets caught with the same punch, and that was it. I remember watching that live.
Honestly, just caught me off guard because they both threw their punch at the same time. I didn't see it coming. Right before that left hand that he threw, that Sergio threw, there was like a good, like, I don't know, what was it, like 10 seconds. There was a good exchange going on. The crowd was going crazy. Like, the distance was being closed in. I felt like they were, Paul was coming in a little bit closer and being more aggressive. And it looked like, I don't know, it looked like maybe he would have came out victorious, maybe at the end of that round. I don't know where it was going. And then next thing you know, he was down.
Yeah, I think it was a matter of time. And I love Paul. And I don't even think it was necessarily his fault. I think a lot of it is when it comes to those like small little things, details. I think it's like up to your trainer to really say, hey, this is what we're going to work on. This is what we're going to change in this camp. And they didn't do it. And then we never got a chance to see like what could have been with Paul, because like right after this, he ended up scheduled to fight Canelo. And then he got into that motorcycle accident and he ended up being paralyzed. So that fight never happened, which to me would have been a pretty interesting fight, because I think Canelo he wasn't the Canelo we know now. So it would have been interesting to see how he would have dealt with Paul Williams. And then of course Sergio, he went on to do some really good things at middleweight, but when he messed up his knee against Chavez in that Chavez Jr. fight, that pretty much ended it for him.
So that was it. And this became Paul Williams' second loss of his, I guess, professional career.
Yeah, that was his second. His first one. Yeah, his first one he was able to avenge against Carlos Quintana, but yeah, this one, yeah, that was a hard one. But he ended up, I mean, and then he came back, and then he had a tough fight with Arslan Lara, who all he did was watch the Sergio Martinez fight, and he just kept throwing the same left hand, and they gave Paul Williams the decision, but the judges ended up getting suspended because it was so obvious that um, he lost that fight. So we'll review that one coming up, but that would be something. But yeah, these two at the time were the two probably the scariest, most avoided fighters because their attributes were just too much for a lot of fighters to want to take that risk on.
Yeah.
So, and then hopefully this weekend we have Broner and Mikey Garcia. So that could set up maybe another
Sunday.
fight. Yeah, another fight rivalry where we get get a good fight on Saturday. Maybe get a rematch on for those two coming up. So we'll see how that plays out. Um, but did you have any final thoughts
Yeah,
on
man.
this fight?
Final thoughts. I mean, I think we pretty much covered everything.
But everybody, thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah.
Yeah, next week.
Official Throwback Thursday.
Yeah, and make sure you stay in touch with us via our social media. Starting next week, we will be having this exclusive on our Patreon channel. So that way we can interact with the people, with our fans and our friends. So you guys have a good one. This is Tony Tig and Cynthia for He Said She Said Boxing.
Bye.